VSG 170. Thanksgiving week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I'm thankful. I know for the VSG universe. I know that sounds really corny and cheesy and cliched, but I really am because it allows me to get better as a football official. I'm also thankful for my family. Our oldest daughter is Corey. You'll love this. Is moving to Denver. She'll be in Denver.
Oh, nice.
A week. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Is she living with y'all? Is she gonna?
No, that'll be a no.
Okay.
She's an adult.
You didn't
contemplate despite Mama's wishes.
No hesitation on your
zero hesitation. There's only 2 adults that's going to live in our house. That's the way it goes.
Did Mama have some hesitation though? Is what I'm curious.
Are you considering yourself an adult?
I'm definitely an adult. She's 31, 30. 94.
Dude,
she's making 31 coming up. Yeah, she's 30 years old. So no, she's moving back to the States from Toronto. She lived in Toronto for 2 or 3 years.
How was her run in Canada? I know that was a thing a couple of years ago. She was super excited to go do that.
She enjoyed it. But Toronto is a humongous city. I don't know if you've ever been there. She's ready to get more into some green area, get away from just the hustle and bustle of being in a big old city, living in an apartment, a tiny apartment, and all that kind of stuff. So,
what does she think Denver is?
Denver is not to the level of Toronto. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's true. It's more sprawled out. That's true.
Yeah. And she's not going to live like right downtown where Keisha and I are. So,
where's she going to
live? She's living a little near City Park, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, that's still downtown Denver.
Yeah, but it's some greenery and stuff. Where she was in Toronto, there was no green space. It was just buildings and buildings and buildings and buildings. And she was just tired of that, I guess. So.
Well, that's fun.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. That's what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving season. This is actually one of my favorite holidays. So.
Oh, I love Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Love Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It always sneaks up on me though, because you get so focused on the football season. It's like, oh damn, it's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone gets to eat too much food, which that's what Thanksgiving is all about to me. Eat too much food and watch some football.
Man.
Yep. Yeah, and I saw today that the NFL is actually having a game on Friday. Is that a first?
This Friday coming up?
Yeah, there's like a afternoon game, like a 1 p.m. Mountain kickoff. I think I saw.
I don't like the NFL, and I really despise some of their officials too.
Well, you have to have a place for some of those people, though. So.
Yeah.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving, Cruz?
We're taking over the calendar. So just I'm not sure about the guy from New Orleans / San Francisco / Denver, downtown, wherever, mountains, whatever you're talking about, but we're taking over the calendar here. So
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Nothing is sacred anymore.
I actually do get to work on Thanksgiving. It's going to be fun. I think it's seriously special. I mean, what do you do growing up? What do you do on Thanksgiving? You turn the TV on and you watch the game.
Watch the Lions.
Hopefully somebody puts some food on the table and you just go to town. And then after you do that, you watch more football.
That's right.
So it's kind of special.
Yeah, you do that and then you watch the Aggies and the Longhorns, but not anymore.
Whoops.
Not anymore.
Maybe next year. I don't know if that's
happening.
No, no, they can't figure that out either. That's what I thought.
Oh, I don't know about that, but it is seriously cool to be working on Thanksgiving. That's an awesome, just an event. And like you said, just it's like cultural. It really is.
Yeah.
Overindulging and watching football, 2 of America's greatest pastimes.
Yep.
Can't beat it.
Yeah. Y'all gonna say what y'all thankful for? Or is that
I'm thankful for you guys.
All right, Daniel.
How's that? No, I'm serious. Can I not say that? I'm really thankful.
Well, that's not what you said in the production meeting.
I'm thankful that you said that, Daniel. So I'm thankful that you said that. I'm not going to.
No, I enjoy, like Tuta, thankful for the universe, but just, it's really cool to be able to engage in something like this with people that you care about and that you find they add value to your own, not just officiating, but personal life as well. So I appreciate you three very much. And even when I don't like you very much, I appreciate you and really enjoy this.
They're not to like.
Yeah, especially considering the working conditions that we have to deal with sometimes from one of our panel members.
Right, right. Corey and I are thinking about unionizing. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, and if this may not be the appropriate time to bring it up, but we're in talks.
Yeah,
Not
we're
much
getting
gratitude there.
No,
Well, I was done being thankful. I was moving on.
Yeah, I noticed.
I mean, I'm thankful for a lot of stuff this year. I think, I'm thankful to be working week 13. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
That was a different story.
It's all good.
Thankful for the new relationships I had this year. I got to meet some new folks, which was interesting and all for the good part. There's all very good people I met, and I'm also thankful for the three of you guys. It's been fun, man. I mean, you think about where this thing kind of was created, and now where it is. It's a really cool story. But thankful for family. Thankful for this past weekend to see my dad work a state playoff game.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That's awesome.
Corey.
That's cool. Thanks
That-
for
that
sending
was-
that picture.
Yeah.
I mean, not that anybody. So Corey sent us a picture of the pregame in the locker room, just dudes sitting around talking football.
Yep.
That's right.
I mean, that was so cool to see.
That was awesome. Yeah.
And the way they work it here in Colorado is that they'll take guys from different associations and all of a sudden just throw them together.
Are
So
you serious?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
There were
Okay.
two guys from the Denver Association, one guy from the Greeley Association, then two guys from the Longmont Association. And obviously, a lot of people listening are not going to know the geography of that, but those are spread out by about 60 miles. And so when they get in this room, they kind of have to start from scratch, like it's week one of the season. They're going,
Dang.
how are you going
That's
to work this? How are you going to work this? And the referee and the umpire, well, the referee especially was somebody that I know from years ago from working high school football, and the umpire as well. He had just kind of started getting into high school football, kind of towards the tail end of that chapter of mine. And so it's cool to see those guys. And then Greg, the referee, said, "Hey, this is actually going to be my last game." And so
Whoa.
to watch that after 35 years and walking off the field, he was totally whatever. But then his wife she was just in tears. And it was, it's those things that in football that, we're all going to end at one point with this thing. And,
Right.
to see that and that side of it was a really cool experience.
Wow, that's awesome.
Dang.
But yeah, the pregame was definitely interesting. 100%. And, because I don't know, a lot of high school rules, they're talking about, some of the things they do that I was just like, wow, I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Huh. Well, that's cool. All right, Cruz, you want to say something, or you want us to just jump into some plays?
I don't think I need to say anything.
Okay. Well, we all kind of talked about what we were thankful for. I guess you're
Oh.
thankful for nothing. You're thankful for yourself, I guess. There you go.
I thought I was supposed to do some like intro to this, recorded virtual session. I forgot about
This is
whole
the intro.
gratitude thing. Yeah.
this is actually the intro. I'm not sure if you knew that.
Oh
or not.
man, dude. I'm fried. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm thankful for you. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm thankful for making an embarrassment out of myself week in and week out with this
Oh,
group.
absolutely.
This is just a blast. We have had 9 camps, and it is cool I've thought about each and every one of those camps, honestly, lately, just because of, I don't know. I don't want to talk about camps going forward because it's so unknown. I know we've put one out there, and we're trying to do our best to figure out what to do. But it's so cool just within this domain to think about what we did coming out of, like Corey said, coming out of COVID, threw it together, right? Camp opportunities presented themselves. Let's go. Let's just end up in a city. Maybe some people will come. There may be a hotel and some football being played, and let's try to put a camp around it. And we did it. And then we did 3 every year. So who knows what the future will hold, but I'm thankful for everybody that's participated. How about that?
Well, there you go. Well, let's be thankful to watch some doggone football. Tired of listening to you run your mouth anyway. So let's see. DY, you want to start off with your play, or Corey? Should we start off with some of this illegal personal contact or personal contact? Let me not say illegal, just personal contact type stuff.
Man, you as the elder statesman by a long shot, I'll let you pick.
All right, I'm glad we're the same age today. And you and I, since we are the same age, we'll start with Daniel.
We are not the same age.
We are absolutely the same age.
How old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah, you're 48, correct?
Oh, I forgot.
Yep.
I may need to edit this part out.
I still got a couple. You got a couple weeks, so you can claim that.
I know. Dang, I forgot. We're all in our 40s, since we're all sitting around the campfire in our 40s.
Yeah, only one of us has a child in her 30s, so differentiator.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, okay. So, DY, we were talking about this play here. You want to set us up, or you want to just hit go, or what?
Well, I'm not really sure how to set it up because there's just numerous things to talk about. One of those plays where there's just a lot going on. So why don't we let's do this. I'll set it up. Scratch that. And then we'll just go into the other element. So for me, this play was interesting because of the slot receiver to the top of the formation's block. So let's go ahead and play it, and I'll just kind of talk you through what I was thinking on the field. And then after I went back and watched it on film,
okay,
some of the other things that stood out to me.
Well, I actually cut it up 2 different ways, so we'll look at it. Go ahead.
Okay. So, we've got the slot receiver coming in with what you would just call a traditional crackback block, right? He's blocking back towards the original line of scrimmage. And we've really gotten, and by the way, this was going on all day with this team, and they did a great job, but we've really gotten conditioned to when that happens, what's the first thing that we think about? Because there's a lot of bad things that can happen, but for me, I don't know about you, Corey, there's one thing that I'm thinking about first.
Yep, blindside, 100%.
Yeah, I'm thinking about blindside block, and that's where my mind is, especially when he comes in with the, he's coming in pretty fast. So in my mind, that's what I'm thinking and processing, blindside block, and there's a shot there. But it's not really just one that wrecks the defender. The defender's able to stay up on his 2 feet. And I thought, man, that's close. I don't think it rises to the level of blindside block. And immediately after that, the ball carrier's down, the play's dead, the umpire's throwing a flag. I started thinking, gosh, he kind of hit him in the head there. But by that point, I felt like, the opportunity was gone. And I really didn't even know what that meant. It just was something kind of back there in the back of my brain where I thought, man, there was some helmet contact there. And so for me, as I was reflecting after the game, just thinking about this play, knowing kind of what was going on in the back of my brain, the conversation I was having myself is the way we work this action for me, and maybe there's some more enlightened folks out there than I am. Well, I'm certain that there are, but for me, I've always thought about, okay, blindside block. Yes, we have an illegal blindside block. Now, where is the contact in that blindside block, right? And that's how we get to a place of targeting from a player who's defenseless because they're receiving a blindside block perspective. Is that making sense? Everybody tracking with me so far?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. But here's what's really interesting about this as I watch this, because prior to this play, if we would have said, okay, is it possible to have targeting 914 on a player who's defenseless, and they're defenseless because they're receiving a blindside block, but not have an illegal blindside block? And I would have really struggled to picture that without seeing it happen. And as I started working through this play, that's where I really kind of landed. And we could talk about, I think, maybe not totally cut and dry, but I think it's worth the conversation, where we can have contact to the head and neck area of a player who's defenseless because they're receiving a blindside block. And that contact could be forcible enough to rise to the level of targeting, but the block itself isn't delivered with such force that it clicks with us in regards to an illegal blindside block. And that was really kind of an interesting thing for me to work through post game with this play. So I'll leave it there. Interested in, and so here's what I'm saying is the guy who received this block B5 is blindsided and is defenseless in my opinion because he's receiving a blindside block. Now I've gotten some feedback that is on a different page with that too, so I'm not sure where you guys were at. But as I watch it, I feel like he's receiving a blindside block, so he is defenseless. And I think there's some contact to the head or neck area that's forcible in nature. So that's where I'm at. And there's one other thing that's really cool that I want to talk about with this too. But I'm curious kind of what you guys are seeing and what your thoughts are.
Well, before Corey talks, it's probably a good idea for everyone in Pure Officiating Universe to pause their video right now and go through the 3 elements. Do your virtual voting on your own. Element 1, player receiving the hit. Element 2, the player delivering the hit, and then element 3, the degree of forceability of the contact. So, all right, go ahead, Corey.
It's just such an interesting dilemma that you're put in because as DY mentioned, when we see that outside player crashing in, we are immediately worried about, blindside. It used to be the crackback block, but now we don't have that. And so, until I saw this play, I think, once you see all that, I don't like that. I don't think that's an illegal blindside block. It's easy to fall and say, okay, that's the only thing I have to work on that play. But when you see this, this was a great reminder that while you may receive a legal blindside block, the legality of the blindside block does not affect the defenselessness of a player. And so that we have to still keep our targets up for targeting. And, I think I would have worked this play the exact same way as Daniel did. 100% 100 times out of 100, I think I would have done the exact same thing until I saw this play. I was like, oh, damn. And, obviously, it's just, I guess it's a trap that we fall into. I don't know. Because then there's other aspects of this play that, there's like third down the line that until we talked about this play over the weekend, I again would have gotten into that one either. So it's fun to learn from this play 100%.
Yeah. So to the elements, I think that's a great, obviously that's what we do. And I kind of gone through that obviously on my own already. So I gave my opinion about, is there anybody, I'm kind of interested in you, Brandon, because there's some conversation that this is a little bit similar to a play we've talked about a few weeks ago where this guy should see this block coming. I didn't really align myself with that, but I'm interested. Is there anybody on this less than distinguished panel who thinks that maybe this isn't blindside? He's not defenseless.
Brandon Cruz, I guarantee that.
No, it is the old illegal crackback. So this is,
okay.
I believe him to be defenseless.
All right, timeout, Brandon Cruz. What makes this block any different than the one we talked about 2 weeks ago where the tackle went or the center went out to the left side of the
ball was inside?
I don't know that without that video we're going to have a very beneficial conversation around that.
I don't know either, but to me it is different. The defense is facing the football and the blocker's coming at him. Not here. This is, this guy's obviously focused inside. This guy comes from outside in. It's just a totally different play.
Okay.
Okay. So I agree. Defenseless. Here's what's really interesting. Because when we have talked about targeting on a player who's defenseless because they're receiving a blindside block, I don't think we've talked about it in this context yet as pure officiating. We've looked at plays that were illegal blindside blocks, and then they happen to be high, so they're targeting, or right. So they end up being targeting. So we've said in the past that in that the indicator is kind of inherent, right? You're attacking a player who's defenseless, so that's the indicator. And it's different from if you're tackling, because a lot of times when we're talking about element 2, the indicator, we're talking about a player who's tackling or putting a hit on a receiver, and we're looking for technique things, right? Are we wrapping up? Is the head to the side, or is the head up rather? Are we not launching and exploding to the head and neck area? And so those conversations are a little bit different because most of the time when we're looking at the illegal blindside blocks with high contact, we're saying, well, he's attacking because that guy's defenseless and he went high. I'm just wondering, is there any like thought that maybe there's no indicator here, that he's just blocking, and because it doesn't rise to the level of an illegal blindside block, that we have to be a little bit more what's the word? Just a little bit more stringent on the presence of an indicator than we would if he would have just annihilated this guy?
I think Corey talked about earlier about sitting in that room in pregame and listening to Federation rules and Federation discussions with mechanics and everything. There's something in Federation, I don't believe we have it anymore, called butt blocking and spearing.
Yep.
Anything about this to me, this dude is just attacking the opponent with his helmet. He's that to me is the indicator. He's clearly leading with his head and attacking this dude with his helmet. For me, that's the indicator that I see.
Yeah, I mean, I see this more of almost as a 913 foul than a 914
Yes,
foul.
me too.
Oh, okay. So with the crown.
Yep.
Man, that's like a really forceful, and it must be something about that number. They had a dude that played linebacker for Texas Tech that wore number 1, that this is how he would take on every single block, and this is how he would hit almost everybody he hit, by just using his head and just throwing his head in there.
Or for any Denver Broncos fans out there, that's how Kareem Jackson does it, and he got suspended again today. So.
Oh, he did?
Yep.
I figured he would. That hit yesterday was, yeah, it's crazy. Like, that's what so for me, that what I see on this play, the indicator is just him recklessly attacking with his head.
So when we watch this in slow motion, guys, I'm not sure there's any contact with the crown of the helmet. I'm wondering if the right shoulder, I really think that he slides in front and it catches the side of his helmet, and the right shoulder really hits him in the side of the head.
Oh, I saw it as a helmet may get in his face, like the face mask or just below the ear hole.
That's what I saw, Corey, hitting the face mask. Well, even if it's not, though, I'm still comfortable that that's an indicator, him using his head to ram this dude high.
Okay. And so that's really why I was bringing that up, less to talk about the actual. I mean, we could slow it down and pause it and all that.
Right.
So let's talk about that. So if we see him ducking his head, and let's just say it does kind of slide, and then the forcible contacts with the shoulder to the head of the defender, is that still an indicator?
What if the forcible contact is with the side of the helmet? Let me answer your question with a question.
Well, I think that's the same thing as the shoulder.
Okay. Well, then I would say yes. I still have an indicator.
Okay.
Yeah, I think him coming down with his head down like that is, that's an absence of proper form, and so that's not the form we're hoping to see. So I think that would still give me an indicator. Now, obviously, what he does with that is obviously paramount to what we end up deciding. But I think it could still be an indicator. But I mean, when you see, to me, like as you're going through the blindside block aspect of this, you see the arms come out. So that's where, that's probably going to skew our vision. And that's probably what we're going to see, because we're looking for good technique from the blindside block perspective. And we may lose sight of the targeting component of it.
Okay. So I think that's the only place, I don't know for you guys, but on element 3, again, this is what's interesting. I don't think this is the kind of force we're looking for an illegal blindside block, but when we talk about contact to the head or neck area, I would call this forcible. You guys okay with that?
That's interesting.
Yeah. Trying to wrap my head around that.
Well, because here's why. I think when we're talking about contact to the head or neck area, it just presents different when we're thinking about getting hit in the head versus a blindside block
into the body.
Into the body.
I think I know what you're saying, DY, because the head is way more sensitive area, and we really need to protect the head of both the players hitting and the player receiving the hit. I think maybe that's what you're saying.
Yeah, because again, this to me doesn't rise to the level of an illegal blindside block. Or you guys
Right.
don't agree with that? You think that it does, which is
I,
fine.
no, I'm comfortable.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, I'm not even sure it's a blindside block. Believe it or not, I'm on the fence with that.
Okay.
I was messing with Brandon, but I'm kind of on the fence with, is this blindside in nature?
Okay. Let's circle back to that. Okay, so then are you on the fence about whether or not it's forcible to the
No,
header?
I see forcible contact to this dude's
Okay.
head, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I do too. So element 2 is where I waver a little bit in the indicator piece, because for me, I don't know if I'm going to use the ducking of the head. I feel like there needs to be crown contact there.
I asked you that last week.
And I said that same thing.
I don't think you did.
Well, I don't really remember, but I think you might be right. But I think it was different context.
No, I said if ducking, if 913 is the targeting that we're evaluating, that's the only way the indicator for ducking of the head would be appropriate. We wouldn't have ducking of the head be appropriate for a 914 targeting. That was the question I asked you.
I'll have to go back and listen. I don't remember.
No, don't go back and listen. Answer the question right now. How about that?
Well, I think what we're looking at matters. I think it relative to a certain action, kind of like this. If you would have asked me this question on paper, I probably would have said no. You can't have targeting if it's for a player who's defenseless because they're receiving a blindside block. If it's not an illegal blindside block, so I guess on paper, no. I think that the ducking of the head is for 913 fouls, but I don't remember.
Okay. I think this dude's just being really reckless with his blocking technique personally. But of course, I'm watching video too.
Yeah. All right. So what is your argument just for him not being defenseless? Even if you're not saying absolutely that's what you believe. I'm just saying, like, what kind of leads you down that path?
I don't know, man. Just the angle at which the dude is coming from and everything like that. I think it's reasonable for him to expect to be blocked by that slot receiver. And I just don't feel like it's totally.
So yeah, I've heard that before relative to this play. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
What I would argue is that if he annihilates him with his shoulder and just blows this dude up, and there's a flag for blindside block, everybody's saying what a great call it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the dude maybe didn't get annihilated because he kind of braced himself for the contact. He was kind of prepared for it. And that's kind of why I'm halfway leaning towards that it's not totally blindside in nature. But I don't have a good argument. I'm going to be honest, D.Y. I don't have a good argument.
It's an interesting thing. I mean, interesting play. Wherever you kind of land on this, I think it's interesting. Just it helped me wrap my head around the idea that I need to officiate this contact, even if in my mind it doesn't trigger a foul for blindside block.
Right.
I need to be prepared to say where the contact was if I think it's blindside in nature, and I need to be prepared to rule on how forcible it is if it's high.
Right.
Which is a little bit, again, for me, it's a little bit different than just forcible to rise to the level of an illegal blindside block. So that was cool. Good play for me. Great learning play. Glad it happened. So.
All right. You want to talk through the other elements? I'll bring up the other angle.
Well, I think I'd love for this block by the right tackle got a lot of attention from the TV folks. So I have an opinion, really interested in kind of you and Brandon. This is action that y'all work on a regular basis. What you guys see on this block, because it's certainly suspect. There's some smoke here.
Right.
We're talking about the right tackle. I think it's A76.
Yep. I think for me, what I see is it looks really similar to what a rip move would look like when a defender puts themselves in a poor position. But what I see is the defender beat the tackle to the inside, and the tackle just reached his arm out, and he meat hooked him right before the defender attempted to rip. So I don't think the tackle got his position legally at the point where in which he starts riding the dude to the ground. Normally, if he rides him to the ground and that's all that was presented to him, fine. But I think he got that position illegally by throwing his left meat hook out there. And I think this is a foul. I see restriction
That you
prior to
probably
the ride down.
would not call. I mean, I just think that with this guy's body position and the running back cuts outside, it's just, I don't know. I hear what you're saying, that, man, there's not a whole lot of process here with this block to lead me to a material restriction. I mean, I see everything you're saying with a lot of angles. Yeah, I get it. He takes an inside route. That end zone view from behind supports your perspective there. I get what you're saying.
I threw one similar to this on Saturday.
Not sure I don't know.
No, I know what you're saying, Brandon, because he's walling the dude off, right? He has a, but I think he got to that walling position after he illegally.
And I like what you said with the defender, beating his feet, and then that almost creates the ability for this to be walled off to the outside. So I do hear that.
Yeah.
So what would you call? Let's just say you got to the place where you're like, yes, this is a foul. What category would you put it in?
Hook and restrict. That arm that he threw out there to me is a hook. Boom, hooked him right around the chest.
What's the difference between a hook and just like an arm bar without a grab?
I don't know. I don't care.
I don't like arm bar. I don't think an arm bar is legal either. That's the same thing as a hook, in my opinion.
No, you can.
Well,
you can like, we see a lot of arm bars, I would say, on tackles setting the pocket, and then they usher the edge rusher, beyond the quarterback.
Yeah, with a non-arm barring arm.
I know, but I mean, as I'm just saying, I'm not saying an arm bar is a foul. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I guess, I don't know if you want to talk about a category of arm bar or whatever. I haven't thought about arm bar within the context of offensive holding all that much.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, absent of a grab, you can, even though it's not practical, you can imagine a defender or a offensive lineman standing out with both arms fully extended, like in a substitution mechanic, also almost. And again, not practical, but it's, I think, worth considering. And then a defender's running into that arm. Like, what are we going to call that holding, and when does it rise to the level of a hook? Like, is just any armbar hooking action, and I don't.
Sure.
I don't know.
What you're describing is hooking. It's in the category of hook and restrict. So then we just got to decide, as Tuta explained. Does the defender achieve a competitive position where he's beat that blocker, which this guy does. He does. It's just in real time. I think these are just so challenging.
Oh, really tough.
I think they're really challenging because you can put a lot of stock in the fact that the chest is on the shoulder driving in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have that one person on your right shoulder talking to you and the one person on your left shoulder talking to you about different things. And I mean, I would totally understand why we would arrive at either conclusion here, foul or no foul.
Yeah.
What about this? Do you guys talk about this idea of like clamp blocks, where he's got him on both sides because he kind of pushes him down here with his right arm,
right,
or elbow rather, kind of forearm.
Yeah, he's able to do that because of his left arm hook, though.
And think about the torquing.
And by the way, I don't like. I mean, I would rather this not be called, but I do like. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of issues why I would be wrong not calling this. So just so you know where I'm at.
Well, DY, when they clamp a lot of times, they'll torque as well. And I think this dude has a little bit of torquing action. If you look at his hips right before the ride down starts, he does a little bit of a twisting, torquing action. And that he can achieve that once he clamps the dude in. So it's just
So if he wants to clamp, then just push him with his left hand on his shoulder
Right.
instead of hook. So
Right.
every time I've ever heard anybody talk about clamp, which I think this is like the third or fourth time, they're all describing holding.
Correct.
So
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah, that's literally 100% of the time.
If we were at camp and I was wanting to talk about how great I was, I would say if you look at the left bicep, you can see his left bicep flex. And you just need to watch video and be able to study.
Yeah, well, at camp we're 1,000% on
Yeah,
holding. We got 1,000. We're really good at holding at camp. Yeah, right. I'm telling you, I'm likely not to call this, and then I look at this play and it's a foul. I mean, it is a foul, by the way, but I'm likely not to call it in real time. I look for reasons to put a lot of stock in like body position, where the runner is, and then for whatever reason, this hook and restrict category for me, like this very play, is really, really challenging in real time. I'm just being very real.
All right, Corey, we're gonna transition from some. Well, this is blocking action too. So now we're gonna start talking about some. We were talking interestingly on blindside. We have a lot of plays that talk about blindside blocks today. So,
and I think that's appropriate because I think, since the inception of the foul, what was it, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
3 or 4, something like that.
I think there's still a lot of ambiguity as to what is and is not an illegal blindside block. And I think it's tough for us on the field because we don't, we're still trying to truly define this thing.
Right.
And, depend on who you're, hearing from. Some of these things are, some of these things aren't, and there's just really no, consistent philosophy or standard that we're using on these things.
Right. So we're looking at number 71, A71 at around the 17-yard line after the interception. He gets decleated. Nobody can argue that he got decleated. So
Correct.
Then the question is this an illegal blindside block? I guess first we got to determine, is it from the blind side? And then I think it is from the blind side. I guess then we got to determine if it's illegal.
Well, and I think that's the first pitfall of this foul is how it's worded in the rule book, because a lot of officials, I think, get so, they get just kind of really narrowly focused on the 10-2 aspect of things,
right?
And not so much the time to defend themselves. And I think, over the past couple seasons, I've really kind of completely disregarded the 10-2 thing.
I agree.
Because I think it can lead you down a path of trying to say everything is legal. I mean, because you could say pretty much any blindside block, you could find a portion of 10-2, unless it's truly straight from, shoulder to shoulder type of thing.
Right.
And
right.
I think the reason
go ahead. Is 10-2 in the rule now, or is that just kind of?
That's a strong philosophy. I don't think it's in the rule, but as a very strong philosophy.
No, I agree. Okay, I agree. I just wondered if it was ever made in the rule.
I thought it was. Is it
no, it's not. I don't think
is that just a low block, or is that even out of the low block now?
No. I think that's still in the low block rule. But the blindside block, it doesn't say it, Corey, but a lot of supervisors.
Well, can we just be honest for a second? The 10-2 thing was silly to begin with.
Correct.
Just from all aspects of everything. Okay, I'm out.
No, you're right. And I mean, so, obviously we look for attack, we look for force. You can't really deny the force on here because it knocks the guy down. He's a big dude. And, this was our game. And, obviously during a return of any type, whether it's an interception like this or a punt return, kick return, mechanics are so easy to, that's a completely different conversation here. But, when the umpire and the side judge said this, the umpire brought up a point that I'd never heard of, that offensive linemen are targeted during an interception return. That like they have, the defenders are ready to get after them. I'd never heard that before. Obviously, we spend special focus on the quarterback from the referee position on this, but I never heard that in terms of an offensive lineman before or after, to be honest with you. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard that or not.
Is he saying that because like people want to get back at those dudes?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I gathered. That's what I gathered.
That's probably true.
It probably is true. I'm not sure anybody's speaking out loud, but if you think about it, the offensive linemen spend all game beating on these guys, and it's like their chance. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
All right.
He played, didn't he? I mean, he played at a high level, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He did. I mean, he's been on the football field for a while, and he's had a high level of success with doing it. But whatever. I don't think pass means anything for anybody, myself included. So, but in terms of this, like working this play, from my position, I see 71 go down, but I'm more inside of the field because I'm trying to find something to work in there. And so I think mechanically, to have, obviously the deep wing this is exactly where you want to be looking because that's your first kind of entanglement. And then, I think the umpire the same way. So I'm kind of more backside, but, I didn't see the detail of this on the field. I kind of wish I would have, because I think I would have come in with a different opinion on this, because from an illegal blindside block, I don't find this to be illegal. This guy just kind of, he extends his hands and I think we can still knock a guy down and be a legal blindside block. And I think this is a great example of that, but that's just my opinion on this.
That's kind of where I am too, Corey. I think it's right there. And oftentimes from, whatever evaluative or supervisory people, it seems like we're very willing to support fouls for blindside blocks.
Yep.
Which is not how we operate on the field. So I guess I'm saying, look, if somebody came in and threw on this, it'd probably be hard to say it was incorrect, but I appreciate your assessment more than just saying, well, he went to the ground. I see him use his hands too. It's really it's the end zone view from behind the defense that really sells it for me. He kind of waits for him.
Yep.
There's a little bit of a thrust, but he really doesn't explode into him like he could when we think about like almost a launch action from a defender on a receiver. He kind of waits for him, and there's some, he pushes him good, but I see the hands extended, and I think it could definitely be a lot worse. I see him stop first is what really gets. He breaks down and stops and then goes into him versus continuing to explode into him, if that makes sense.
100%. I mean, that view is exactly when I first saw this film. I was like, this guy's bracing for contact. Like, he's not, loading up and going forward. He's really bracing for it. Then, he's got leverage on the guy because he's got the element of surprise, if you will. And 71's kind of off balance because he's trying to get out to the runner. But that doesn't make that to me, that doesn't create a foul just because the dude's off balance. I mean, I think 8 does exactly what we would hope to do. I guess ideally he doesn't extend the arms, but even then, it just, we had a good discussion on our crew with this, and it was really kind of a 50-50, maybe 62-37. I don't know what it ended up being, but
you're the proportional math guy.
Well, 5 out of 8 is 62%.
I totally agree with DY. I mean, this is just, I don't know. I mean, gosh, it's gone too far if this is a foul. I don't know. I mean, I see why in real time this looks bad, but
and this is one of the ones
he sets up to block him and delivers a blow mostly with his hands. I think he does get a little shoulder in there, so that's troublesome. But
I think we can articulate a little bit about why it's not. Like, what are the indicators or what are the things that we are seeing that's communicating to us it's not an illegal blindside block?
Feet are set.
Yep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think to counter that, you're not going to be able to say, you may say that, well, there's the shoulder. That could potentially be, there's a little shoulder in there, but that's kind of flimsy. And you're just going to be in a place where you're going to have to say, well, it's just too hard, which, whenever you kind of lean on your argument to support your argument, that's when, maybe it's a good time to reevaluate.
Is that a life lesson? That was pretty good.
For all you kids out there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so feet are set. That means that's a strong indicator that it's not an illegal blindside block.
Well, I mean, so
that absolute.
That's not absolute,
right?
Yeah.
No, I just said, well, it's a strong indicator. Okay.
Attacking with forcible contact, is that right? Against a player who can't protect himself from the contact.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have his feet set and then load up, and I mean, so that's a different story,
Right.
I think that, I think this is a good indicator of solid technique,
Right.
Leading with the hands, we got a lot of good things here.
Yeah.
I think we got a lot of good things that outweigh. obviously we've got to overcome the fact that 71 doesn't see this block coming. That's what we've got to overcome. So,
Right.
so it's on the blocker, the onus, like with OPI. So the onus is on the blocker to overcome the fact that you're blocking somebody who can't see the block coming and can't protect himself. So now, does your technique overcome that? And to me, the answer is yes with this technique.
I like that. I like that explanation. I think that's.
I
I
do
think
too.
that could. I think that could clear up a lot, not only for officials, but I think if players were to hear that language, I think that could help them as well.
All right. So Corey, you shared another play with us, and it's really interesting this discussion that we're having because everything kind of leads to the next play. Our guy Guilherme from Brazil also asked the question. They have something that's similar to an officiating manual, and he was basically writing an illegal blindside block evaluation criteria in their officiating manual. And one of the things that I kind of gave him some feedback on is he said you can't have an illegal blindside block if the player is not moving, the one who's delivering the block. And I just wanted to maybe give him some feedback to soften that language up a little bit. And it's interesting that we made the comment about the player's feet being stopped in the last play. And then, of course, I was thinking about this next play that we're going to look at. So we're going to be evaluating that
Did
contact.
you just play us like a fiddle? Like, did you just literally?
I played the cello in
Did you?
junior high, so I played you like a
Okay.
cello.
Is cello like stronger than a fiddle?
Yes, a cello is much more manly than a fiddle.
I don't know, man. Charlie Daniels played a pretty mean fiddle.
Yeah, but the cello is a bigger. It's a big looking violin fiddle looking thing.
Yeah, you stand it up, right? It's like the small bass.
Yeah, it's a small bass. It's the female bass.
But it's
God,
more
I-
masculine. I mean,
Listen.
I'm not worried about all that.
I'd really love to see
gender.
a picture of you playing the fiddle back in 1980.
No, I played
Or-
the cello, man. I didn't
or
play
cello.
the fiddle.
cello.
Either way.
I did play the violin as well. I played violin. I played piano, violin. I played cello.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
See, I think there's a difference when you call it a violin versus a fiddle. To me, a fiddle sounds like cool, upbeat music.
Yeah,
Violin is like orchestral. I know it's the same
That's true.
instrument, but
that's
anyway.
true. Yeah, the fiddle, you get down with the fiddle.
Yeah,
man.
no, that's a great
Yeah.
breakdown.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel like you're dignified enough to play the cello. If I'm just
I
being
don't
honest.
feel like
I
you're
play-
dignified enough to play any of those. But
Okay. yeah.
you might want to break them out. I mean, you never know. At
Can
least
we-
some video.
Can we maybe talk about this play here, this block here that we talked about?
Gotta have something on VHS that we can look at. I like this play.
I love this play, and I want to hear what y'all have to say about it.
Well,
What we got
I
going?
evaluated this play, so I want to hear what you all have to say, and then I'll kind of weigh in.
Right.
Or I guess I can start with that, and you guys can go off of what you thought. And so, like,
Well, it is a blindside block, right?
It is
There's
a
no question
blindside
about
block.
that. Let's not. I
Absolutely.
mean, we don't have to worry about that.
and it was a play that, when I evaluate video, it's usually pretty clear, first and second look. But I think I probably watched this play 40 times before I could, like, I was on the fence the whole time. I was like, man, is this guy is he stepping up into coverage, and it's a bad collision because, that defender, he may be reading that quarterback. Is he running? Is he responsible to get up there and cut that off? I mean, he's still responsible for his body. Don't get me wrong with that. And this is definitely a blindside block, and his feet are somewhat set, and so to Guilherme's manual thing, I think maybe this is a good compare contrast to the first one, because the difference I see in this one compared to the one from the Oregon State play is that this guy kind of leans that shoulder in versus having his hands out, and so there's not really a level of absorption to it. And I think maybe initially he's coming up to support run, but he sees this guy, scraping across, and he's like, well, I'm just gonna hit this dude. And I think, number one, I think from the back judge position, to see this, to be flowing with this is really excellent work in that regard. Because as DY can attest to, when you get down here and you get all these crossers and flooding to different areas, sometimes it can be tough to see that. So
Bro, it's pandemonium.
100%. And so, to me, I think this. I landed on. I think this is an illegal blindside block because he does come up and he just, there's obviously force there, and I think there's just enough of an element of attack with that dipping of the shoulder. To me, that I like the call for blindside block. I know that's not what we're here for, but that was kind of my evaluation of it.
So going off of what Brandon kind of just brought up about the blocker, the onus is on the blocker for the type of technique he chooses to display when he knows the player he's blocking can't see the block coming. I really love this as a foul as well because he chose to use his shoulder to deliver the contact versus use his hands, and he probably could have had the same effect by just using his hands and pushing the dude down. But he chose to use his shoulder, and I agree with you, Corey. I think this is a foul for illegal blindside block.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really interested in kind of where you were going a little bit earlier. Like, it's possible you could perceive this, like you said, he's just coming down, working downhill because his responsibility, he feels like the quarterback's running and then just runs into the guy.
Right.
That would be so hard to discern in live action, like to kind of parse that out and figure it out. And that may be, I kind of quit beating this drum just because people, I think, probably got tired of us having this conversation about attacking versus not attacking. That could be the one time where maybe it ends up being forcible and it's not attacking. But I think I agree that I see at the last minute, and whether it's just he sees him in his peripheral and decides to deliver a blow, or that was his plan the whole time, there is that kind of ducking of the shoulder. I mean, this contact is the effect of this contact is emphasized. That's not the word I'm looking for. Like, exaggerated so much just because the receiver is running at such a high rate of speed and gets hit from the side. So it naturally, he's just going to go off of his feet. It's not going to take much force at all to do that. But I see that shoulder kind of duck into him. I think if I see this on the field as the back judge, I'm able to piece this. I think I'm going to throw 10 out of 10 times. Like, you're just going to see that big collision. It's clear and obvious the receiver doesn't see the hit coming. I think it's just going to stand out as a foul if you're like Corey said, if you're fortunate enough to catch it, because it's crazy back there when you've got receivers going across and there's a lot of bodies in a really small space moving at a really high rate of speed. But I'm inclined to agree with you guys that this is.
I like this as the example of you could have this much force and it clearly not be a foul.
Mm-hmm.
It could be incidental, just based on different positioning of players. But I don't think this is incidental at all. I mean, I'm with everything we're saying here. I just think that if he was truly, and he's probably going to tell us he's trying to go for the quarterback.
Right.
Okay. I mean, but, I guess if you were really trying to go for the quarterback, you would maybe kind of swim this guy. You would maybe, I don't know what you would do. I didn't play at a high level, which you guys have told me about a lot, but I don't think you would do this. So he didn't choose properly.
Yeah.
I can see a defensive coordinator seeing this player, a DB's coach, seeing this on film and saying, hey, he saw the guy coming. He's just bracing for contact. And then I think what Brandon just said, on the last play, hey, you've got to give me technique that shows that you're going to overweigh the fact that you're meeting this guy from the blind side. And I think that would help coaches as well. I really like that comment you made.
Right. It'll be hard to argue.
If you're defending this route, you're not trying to go through him.
Right. Yeah, or if you're defending yourself from a block, it'll be hard to argue that this dude is trying to block him when he's not even looking at him.
Well, that's the
Like-
thing. I mean, you could almost reach out and encircle him in a way and still not even commit a foul. You know, I mean, just protect yourself
Right.
with your arms outstretched. So sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Huh. Okay, so we all agree that this is an illegal blindside block. We got to enforce this because this ain't a normal thing, huh? Like if
No,
we got a pass play and then somebody comes tell me we got a illegal blindside block. In fact, I had this in the bowl game last year.
that's right.
We had an illegal
We were
blind
watching.
and we almost screwed it up too
You did. Tried to.
because we got to make sure that we properly report this so we know what element of the play or what segment of the play this foul occurs on. This is on a pass play, and we have to know that because
During a
everything that-
try too. So
Yeah.
Oh, does that matter? Oh, well, yeah, it does. Right.
100%
Well,
good.
maybe before or after the change of possession,
Yeah.
I guess.
yep.
I mean,
Oh, so this is a try play?
Yes, this is they're trying to get within 3.
Oh.
so either way, though, okay, forget about all that. You got to report this on the field. You do have to report this relative to, was it before or after the interception?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's fundamental. Whether this is a try, so obviously the try has special rules for fouls that occur after a change of possession.
right.
Well, and there was also another unfortunate little wrinkle to this play, which also affects enforcement.
You want to get into that, Corey?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about the enforcement aspect,
Okay.
I mean, does it
yeah,
not?
I cut that off intentionally. I didn't want to.
Well, that's fine. We can edit. We can edit that part out then if you don't want to
Okay.
talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't want to embarrass.
That's
that,
fine.
that was going to be my question. What the fuck? Like, goddamn.
What happened?
What did they
The
do?
line judge blew the fucking play dead.
Yep.
Oh, while the guy's
up.
upright on
Yep.
an interception.
Yeah, he's about to run out the end zone. Dude just blew the play dead.
Yeah.
Not in response to this block, but just
Just because he said it's a failed try, I guess.
Yep.
oh
Shit.
my gosh. I bet he wanted to kill himself after that.
Yep.
And probably 7 other people want to kill him too.
Well, probably way more than that.
I mean,
Oh, the referee. The look that the referee gives this dude on video.
is that Crowley? Is that
That's
Jim?
Crowley. Yep.
Yes.
And
Oh,
he gets
God,
kind
I
of
love
crankety.
That guy is outstanding, man. He is the goofiest dude, and he's
Yep.
not really that good, but he is just awesome in all ways.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. I can't figure him out. But I worked 5 games with him, and I just
I wonder if it's because the kid gets wrapped up and he just assumes he's going to go down.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I
yeah.
don't know.
So how are we enforcing this?
So what do they
again?
do?
Those
What did
line
they do
judges?
after that? Like, what did they
Well, they
do?
pretend like it didn't happen.
Oh,
We just covered up the whistle.
did they call
Yeah.
this live? Did they call the foul?
Yeah, they called the foul. Yeah, they 100% the back judge got it. So,
Great call.
I mean, that's a freaking outstanding call.
So shit though. Then you've got the whistle and we just ignore it, huh?
well, I mean,
Well,
luckily
what are you
can
going to
because
do
of
with
when
it? I
happened.
mean,
Yeah.
the change of possession has taken place. So what are you really going to do with that, though?
It would have wiped it out anyway because the foul by defense occurred before the inadvertent whistle.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Whoa,
And
whoa,
the
whoa,
foul-
whoa, 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 whoa! What are you
Whoa,
saying?
whoa, whoa, what?
The block occurs before the interception.
Correct.
Correct.
Oh,
Foul by
okay. They
team
get
B.
to retry.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
okay. I'm
let's-
sorry.
let's
I
say
thought
the
you were
block
saying
happened-
something else, dude.
let's say the block
I got
happens
all hot
after
and
the-
bothered there for a second.
Let's say
Yeah.
let's say the block happens after the interception though, and then you have this whistle. That now
Yeah.
that
Now we got a
changes things.
fucking problem. Yeah.
Yep.
Now we got a rule.
Well, yeah, you do. But I mean, not really, because
I guess we're just gonna say the try is no good. 'Cause
The try is no good. I don't know if this is this declined by rule? Doesn't it have to be flagrant to carry over? How does
Yes.
that work again?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think it's flagrant. I mean, you're not
No.
ejecting, so it's got to be targeted. And pretty much this has to be targeting to become flagrant, right? I mean, that's what the rule really helps us with.
What are you
In my
talking about? Flagrant.
Huh?
I don't.
Because it's a try. So we're talking about how do you enforce this? The only way to enforce this really is if it's clearly after the change of possession and it's flagrant because it's a try. Right? Or not?
No, isn't that
You mean if it occurred
extra
after the change
period?
of possession, or are you saying
That's what I'm
before?
saying. If it occurred after.
Oh yeah, if it occurred after, yes.
Is
Then
that
team
Or
A
the
is just
change
not
of
getting the
possession,
ball.
they get to replay the try, half the
Yeah,
distance.
they're not getting to replay nothing. If Team B got the ball with clean hands, A is
Yeah,
just tripped up.
yeah.
But isn't the whole flagrant thing for overtime only?
Yeah, I think we can still carry this over.
So the overtime and try rules are very. I
Ain't they the
always thought
same?
that they
Oh,
were
no.
very closely aligned.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
that's
talking
true.
about fouls that occur after a change of possession. It's a very
Yes.
I thought they're
succinct-
just declined by rule on a try.
they are unless they're flagrant
flagrant.
or
They-
something else happens, which I'm not sure what all those are. Anyway.
Well, in overtime, it's flagrant or unsportsmanlike.
I think it's the same
So
on try.
during a try after, yes, that's exactly what it is. Penalties
Oh.
for flagrant personal fouls, unsportsmanlike conduct fouls, dead ball personal fouls, and live ball fouls treated as dead ball fouls or enforced on the succeeding kickoff or at the succeeding spot in extra
Oh.
periods.
Okay.
Yeah. So just a regular old personal foul just gets declined.
Yes. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Unless they're successful on the try, then they can carry it over.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. So if they're successful on a try, so it's a very specific group of fouls that occur after a change of possession when B is clean, actually, right? It's a very specific group of fouls that we just have to memorize those. I mean, it doesn't really follow any other logic
It don't
of
make sense.
penalty
Yeah.
enforcement, right?
Right.
Because why would you decline a personal foul? I mean, it doesn't
Right.
even really make sense.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's an acronym because it's the flagrant, the live is dead.
Oh man, don't do that like hippie or
But
gosh.
it's something like that, but it's not that.
I know. I'm
All
sure.
right, let's get back to enforcement because this was interesting, actually.
Okay, so
So we got
okay, go ahead. I'll say this is a foul. Obviously, the result of the play is an interception. So now, did B get the ball clean? This foul
No.
occurs before the interception.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, so this ends up being a pass play. So I've got previous spot replay the try.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. Can Team A move the ball?
Oh, ball in
Yeah.
hand, lateral.
Remember, Corey said this is a try. So can Team A move the ball?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't
They've
see
not
why.
not.
I don't see why they can't either. But I was
They
just
haven't
wondering.
fouled. The only time they can't move it is they have fouled as well.
What about what isn't there a timeout involved? Not here, but if they take timeout, are they locked in, or is that what was the thing? I thought we figured that out at one point.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they can here since B fouled. B fouled gives them ball in hand laterally.
Yes. Yes. Do you think you're a pool player or something, Brandon? Is that what you're talking about? Ball in
My
hand?
son has never
So-
beat me. My son has never beat me ball in pool billiards. So
That's probably not true.
he
I
says
think
he beat me
you when-
once. He says he beat me once at your house, but I don't think he did. So
I feel like he did. Yeah. I feel
yeah.
like he did.
Now you and him are both getting it. I just don't feel like I remember that. That could be other reasons. I don't remember that though. Yeah. It's July 4th.
Okay, so we need to but we do. I know you said Brandon, you was making mention of reporting this foul as before the change of possession. I would like it just to be reported as prior to the pass or before the ball was thrown or something like that, because that would definitely help me understand.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I just want somebody to report something. Don't just come in. I mean, if I'm putting myself under the white hat again, I would just say, please just say something about, when this foul occurred. That's all I want.
it occurred. Right. You can't just.
You want to say
before
you said before the pass? Yeah, fine. I mean, if you want to say before the interception, fine. Obviously, if it occurs after the interception, then say during the return or after the interception. Like you can say that however you want. I just
Right.
please say something.
Yes, because we could really go down the wrong, especially on the try. You try enforcements are so crazy and weird. Okay, so there we go. We got a dude who's basically stationary with committing a foul. That all four of us agree that that's a foul.
Now, one last little wrinkle that
Okay.
came up in the conversation with some folks, that they had some heartburn over using blindside block as a foul against the defense, and I had never heard that, and I don't see why you would have any heartburn. But
I don't like that.
I don't either. I don't either. And I was like, and I kept telling this officials, like, well, there's no segregation says there's got to be a team A foul or a team B foul. It just says a player cannot block someone from the blind side. And I think the argument was, well, yeah, but the TV and the announcers won't know what to do with that. I'm like, well, that's really not our problem.
Yeah, that's not our problem.
Well, okay, so let's say it is our problem. If it is a problem? I'm not saying it is, but let's say it is a problem. What would the solution be? Would we rather call it, for those in this camp, is the solution to call it a hit on a defenseless player?
Yeah, that was the argument. That was exactly the argument. It was just to call it a UNR HDP.
Yeah, and of course, not all hits on defenseless players are fouls, but not all blindside blocks are fouls. So
right.
I think we're tracking on the same. I don't know. I mean, I don't really have heartburn over that, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they weren't saying it's not a foul. They were saying just don't delineate it as an illegal blindside.
Yeah,
block.
they were worried about the nomenclature we were going to use.
Yeah, that's kind of whatever.
And you can edit.
That's like that thing about roughing the passer against a player who throws a backward pass. Like it's just the same foul, but you can technically by rule it's just UNR, I guess, but whatever.
All right, BSB, UNR, HDP, whatever you want to call stuff. We got one more play to look at, Corey.
Well, I mean, don't say that. That's a blindside block.
I was giving some people who maybe feel differently. I was giving them some.
No, we need to adjust their feelings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll send you over there, DY, and you make them an offer they can't refuse. That's all.
Well,
Okay.
You put in a headlock, all of a sudden you start feeling differently about things.
All right, so we got another Corey Luxner special here. We're looking at the number 3 receiver at the bottom of the field. And I don't know what we want to call this. Do we want to call this a BSB, UNR, HDP, not a foul? Corey, I guess since it's your play, we'll let you start off here.
Okay, so I obviously, I learned a lot mechanically on this, and we'll get to that. But just in terms of this action itself, I don't care what you call it. This is a foul, in my opinion. Like, this guy completely comes. This guy has no. He gets his arms out, but he murders this kid.
Right.
And if you want to call it HGP or blindside block, I think whatever. I'm just going to go with the blindside block since it's actually a defined thing and that fits all that category. But the biggest thing for me, as you guys want to stop and talk about the aspect of blindside block, because I think it is, but I'll let you guys weigh in.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question. It's clear and obvious.
Yeah,
illegal blindside block to me.
Yeah, I don't see any way around that.
No.
I'm still comfortable with UNR HDP though, but I'm a person who we actually had one 2 games ago, a UNR HDP, a hit on the defensive player. But the dude that we in our game, the dude was like 40 yards behind the play, nowhere near the play.
Yeah, but I think that one should have been a blindside block too, Tuta.
No, it wasn't because he forcefully pushed the dude down with open hands. I wouldn't be able to
he
call
pushed
that.
him down hard as hell.
So there's always been a rule about hits on players out of the play.
Correct. Yep. It's literally in the rule book.
Yeah. But that
funny enough, we actually had that called in this very game later on. My field judge and I had a hit on a defenseless receiver. It wasn't targeting. It was just an HDP.
Like the pass was like clearly incomplete, and then
it was like way behind him, clearly incomplete. And maybe when we have like a targeting discussion, maybe we can bring up that play for a future session. But Yeah, I mean, it's definitely still a foul. You just don't see it as often. I mean, especially with the advent of the targeting rules and blindside block rules, I just don't think we think about it as often. But week 11 of the 2023 season seemed like there were a few plays out there to incite such a discussion.
Right. So DY, you don't like this. You don't like categorizing this as a hit on a defenseless player.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that. Like, I just don't. It's a clear and obvious blindside block. So I don't know what. I don't like. That doesn't make sense to me. Why we're trying to avoid the label of blindside block.
When it is
It's
what
just-
it is. Just call it what it is. Right?
Totally right. I think we all agree, nerdy rules people. The question is that going to be consumed by the audience and the stakeholders of the game? And I know you don't care about that, but I do. And I mean, so we got to figure out how to message it. And if so, we're either going to like teach them what blocking is in football, which is kind of funny because blocking is just intentionally contacting another player, right?
Right.
In a way. So that's why, I mean, no, everybody thinks of blocking. Most stakeholders of the game think of blocking as trying to, free the runner for additional yardage, which of course that's not what's going on here. So that's just the gap in messaging.
So what you're saying, Brandon, is we need to teach people that defenders can block as well as offense.
And defenders can clearly block because if this guy goes low on this guy, it's a illegal block below the waist.
Correct.
So it's the same thing, but it's
Right.
just an illegal blindside block in this. But people don't think of it like that. I mean, and so it's the same thing when we call defensive holding on linemen trying to obstructing another player from getting out to the second level to block somebody else. How can you call defensive holding on the defense on a running play? Like,
Right.
well, yeah, we can. I mean, that's a foul. So, but it's just the same issue we have.
Right.
And we either need to care or not care, I guess, to Daniel's point.
I think we all know where I stand.
I think
Look, it doesn't bother me to call it a hit on a defenseless player. It's fine. It's whatever. I don't care.
No, I think you do have a valid argument though, DY. Like why try to find some little special category when it literally is just an illegal blindside block? Just call it what it is. Okay, I guess we all agree, Corey. That it is a foul.
Yeah, 100%. And I think mechanics is as deep officials are really we involve all five or that have passing responsibilities. I mean, I think maybe you could loop in the umpire a little bit to this, but we've always been taught, when you see the pass, you go to the ball. And in that process, that and what that really means is you go from more of, you're looking at your responsibility. You may have a little bit wider vision because maybe, in my sense, this guy wasn't threatened. So I had a wide vision, which allowed me to see the pass released and I got to the catch. And then as I'm widening my focus back out, I see my original guy, the bottom of his shoes. And I'm like, well, that probably shouldn't have happened. But I had no idea how he went down. I mean, my gut told me he just got annihilated. And maybe I should have gone with my gut, but sometimes I can get you in trouble. So I think what I learned mechanically on this, and it's something that I've used in different situations, is like, I don't have to zero in on this catch. There are literally 8 people that are going to look at this, including our replay officials up top, that I don't have to be so tight on this. And it's funny, like if this is a deep post across the middle, I'm going to focus on anybody coming in to hit him, kind of see the hit, feel the catch type of deal. And I've never thought of expanding it to something like this, but I should have as well, because there wasn't so much a hit going to happen against the player receiving the ball, but there was going to be obviously a hit happening to my poor guy number 7 here who, doesn't know his name right now. And so that was a good learning play for me, especially as a back judge or any deep official really, because, after this series, I think I went to my side judge and my field judge both said, hey, did you see any detail on how that guy went down? And both of them said, no, we saw the catch and then we just see him on the ground. And so I think what happened is all 3 of us, we did the same thing. We went to work this catch, which really is, when you look at it, uncontested. There's no question that it's a catch. And so why are we so laser focused in there? And I think that's just one of those old things that we're beating into our heads as a deep officials, man zone ball type of thing. And, hitting the field this upcoming week, I'm really going to hope to implement this to say, okay, if I see this, I'm going to stay a little bit wider focus so that I can catch a little bit more of the detail. Now, if the ball comes loose, everyone's going to see that. If it's a contested catch, we're going to have people that are more zeroed in there. And I think my eyes would be better served, my focus would be better served in other parts just to pick this up. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's just kind of how I evaluated myself after watching this on video.
So if there's no chance of a collision between the dude who got murdered and the opposing team, then you probably would be a little more focused on the catch. But since there is a potential, then you probably want to stay a little wider and ensure that he stays upright, I guess is what you're saying.
Well, and that's fair. But, at the time of the past, I didn't think that Seven had anybody remotely close to him. Like I wasn't really focused on him. I was kind of wide vision to begin with because, they let him go from that first level of the secondary, kind of that zone, that man, it's like a man under type of coverage. I don't know. But once he, got into that soft spot of the zone, I just kind of was looking for, where I can focus on. And the first thing happened was the catch. So now if this guy is more threatened, I guess that would apply. But I don't know. I mean, because as you can see on this sideline view, he closes from 5 yards away to hit him after the ball released.
So then, Corey, you're comfortable with, as a habit, not always going to the catch, because as a catch for all three deeps, because we say we're going to go man and then zone, and then we're all going to the ball once it's in the air. But you're kind of suggesting that we don't have to do that.
And I'll give you a different example. Say we have a 9 route or a fly pattern down the sideline, and we have a safety coming from the middle of the field, and we have a cornerback who's in step with the receiver. And so my focus on that type of a play is I'm going to pick up that safety coming across, because I know the side judge or field judge and line of scrimmage, they're probably going to be working catch. They're probably going to be helping with DPI. Now, and obviously I got to be, in tune with any type of inside arm grab, but I also want to see where that guy coming in to just deliver a hellacious hit is. And so I think in that position, the catch would be third in the list of my priorities, if that makes sense. So that helps make it any clearer what I'd like to do going forward.
So then with this, would you be upset with yourself if you come off the catch and Seven's just running in space when you adjust to him? Not upset. That's a stupid thing to say, but you know what I mean? Would you feel like that was correct visually?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd be okay with that, because if this guy, it's either going to be a catch or the ball's going to be on the ground, and we're going to have, 4 sets of eyes looking at it.
Yeah.
Just on the field alone. And so in the off chance that this type of a hit happens again, I'd be happy with myself. I would have been ecstatic if my side judge at the bottom of the screen has a flag coming in for it. And so, I think maybe from a deep wing perspective, if you're that offside deep wing, boy, we really don't need your eyes in on the catch.
So then I'm just trying to think about how you replicate that as an approach as a deep official. It sounds like almost you feel like if you're not the ruling official relative to catch, no catch, maybe you don't need to go there automatically.
That's kind of where I'm thinking. Yeah. I mean, in the most simplistic terms, absolutely. What are your thoughts on that?
It's really, I don't know. It's a little bit not scary, but it's a little bit Brave New World. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to think of a reason to not do that. And I don't know. Look, if you are working this play and you say, I felt Seven coming up and I adjusted my eyes to him, even though the ball was going there, and you get this, you just work some fantastic visual mechanics. And so I don't know how to argue against that. You know what I mean? I think that's really, really strong. There's going to be circumstances where maybe you just end up with an angle, a window that nobody else has. And I don't know if we should be programmed around those times, because like you said, you've got replay and you've got 3 other guys watching the ball.
I mean, I don't think I need to like totally disregard the catch in this type of play, but maybe kind of work it in the background and kind of just have not a tight focus or not even a super wide focus, but something kind of in between. Because if you look at how this play presents itself, they all kind of line up that, you know, you might be able to see a little bit of it. You won't see complete detail of everything, but I think you get enough detail of each that you'd have, you know, a good opinion. Now, let's say that number 88 here, the guy who catches the ball, has a little bit tighter coverage, or there's a player coming from the middle of the field. I think that would require more of a laser focus. And then if this happens in number 7, you know, I think we've got to depend. I don't know who else I depend on other than maybe the offside deep wing.
Yeah.
If he bobbles the ball right there at the 49, the minus 49, and I mean, and then now we have, you know, catch, no catch with more contact imminent. Do you feel like with this direction you're talking about going, which is really interesting, do you feel like your peripheral will help inform that?
That's a good question.
See, and so, I mean, my only thing is like, it's a lot of playing the result in a way, but it's not.
Correct.
It's not. It is, but it's not, because it's like, okay, these things happen. This happened, by the way. We're not just making this up. I don't know if anybody's aware, but this actually happened because we're watching the video. So, but we've also seen this guy try to attempt to tuck the ball, and he just doesn't really. He kind of flushes it down, you know, the side of his body, and maybe that's not readily seen by anybody either, you know. And then we, you know, I don't know, we rule catch fumble when maybe we should have ruled incomplete, whatever. So it's just, it's a good discussion, man. I mean, it's a really good discussion.
I
think I agree. I think it's fantastic. I love the conversation.
I think I agree that what Brandon, what you're saying, that Corey, you are kind of playing the result, but I don't know if that matters that you're playing the result, because you do make a valid point. Yeah. There's 2 line of scrimmage officials that are definitely working this catch. There's an umpire that's most likely working this catch. There's 0 people that's working that hit on the dude at the back.
That's right.
Oh, I guarantee the field judge at the top of the screen, he's working the catch.
Yeah. So there's other people absolutely working the catch, but there's nobody working the hit on this dude, which never happens. Like, the hit never happens. We, you know, that's very rare that type of hit happens.
Right.
Right.
So then I guess that's why, you know, Daniel's your consternation with changing all mechanics for something that really doesn't happen. But that's inexcusable to miss that. Like, if I'm the Oregon State coach, I am throwing my headset and I'm saying, how can you miss that?
And when you send it in over the week, you're asking the supervisor, how can you miss that?
How can you miss that?
Great answer.
Right.
But here's the
8
thing.
officials, all of this money, and how can you miss that?
Well, let's slow down with all this money.
Okay. Well,
right.
I'm in character right now, DY.
Oh, okay. But here's the thing. It's really the same principle. We talk about this with, you know, when Brandon starts going to his line of scrimmage bashing sessions, it's the same thing.
Bashes every official.
We talk about, like, on these swing passes or maybe out in the flat, but really those swing passes where we catch them watching the ball and the catch.
Yeah. And
there's no value in that at all when we want them looking at blocks in front of the returner or the receiver. It's the same principle. It's just kind of shifted a little bit differently. And so maybe the answer is, like, we just have to, you're going to have a feel for, because look, if 88's catching the ball and 14's playing through his back before the ball gets there, as a back judge in that middle of the field, you probably want to have a piece of that.
Right. But
if you can feel that space and then also feel that guy coming across from the side, and I agree. I think we don't need to be an extra set of eyes as a back judge on this catch. I just agree with that in principle. And so we can extrapolate that out to a lot of plays. So I like it. I do. I really do. I think it's really, really good. And this, because of, and it doesn't matter, like you said, it doesn't matter that this hardly ever happens. When it does happen, it's inexcusable for us as a crew. We just, inexcusable in the sense that, not that we're just awful, but we can't justify it, right? Like,
right.
You can't sell a coach on why we didn't get this.
Right.
He's just not buying it.
Right. especially since everything we talk about here is, and I know is going way outside of what we would normally think. Like, who would say we don't need to look at the catch as a back judge? What are you talking about? We have to go to the ball. We have to go to the catch. But
Right.
if we're always constantly trying to challenge ourselves to get better and to
That's right.
improve, man, this is a good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also just being willing to challenge those, I don't know what to call it, those traditions. That's
Right.
not the word. I mean, there's
Well,
value.
it's a tradition.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Just being willing to ask, is this the best thing for all 5 perimeter officials to do this? Like, wait a second, isn't there other things happening when the ball is being caught?
Right.
Maybe we need to officiate as well.
Right. Well, there it is.
It's one angry beaver.
Well, I tell you what, I was happy we were there that week and not this past week because that looked. I don't know if you saw any of that game against Washington. That looked miserable.
Oh,
The weather was bad.
It was like 45 and just constant rain.
constant.
Oh my God, that's miserable. That's definitely miserable.